Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating story from the Jagannath Temple in Puri. It's a single legend that explains two of its most famous traditions, why one of its most powerful guardians is in chains, and how an epic daily feast of 56 dishes came to be. Okay, so let's jump right into the big mystery. Why on earth is Lord Hanuman, the mightiest of devotees, shown in chains at this temple? It seems so strange, right? Well, to get to the bottom of this, we have to go way back to a time of a major crisis, just after the Grand Temple was first built.
So, once the temple was finished, Varuna, the god of the sea, was just overcome with his powerful longing to see Lord Jagannath. But his love was so intense, it had a seriously dangerous side effect. As he tried to get closer to the temple, these huge ocean waves started crashing into the city, flooding everything and putting all the devotees in danger. The people of Puri were terrified, and they pleaded for help. Lord Jagannath knew that the sea god's devotion, while pure, was becoming a real threat. He realized he had to call on the one being powerful enough to command the wind and the waves, Hanuman. Hanuman, of course, gladly accepted the duty. He stood guard right there on the shore, like a mighty wall against the sea, and it worked. He held back the ocean. But just as one problem was solved, a completely new and, unexpected conflict started brewing inside of him. As his daily prasadam, or blessed food, Hanuman was offered what the main deity received back then, a simple dish of Khichdi. Now, don't get me wrong, this is divine food, but he began to get a little tired of eating the exact same meal day in and day out. And this really captures his inner struggle perfectly, doesn't it? On one hand, you have his sacred, unwavering duty to protect the temple, but on the other hand, there's this very relatable, almost human craving for his favorite sweets from his time in Ayodhya. So, thinking Lord Jagannath was deep in meditation and probably wouldn't notice, Hanuman came up with a little plan. Whenever the ocean seemed calm, he'd secretly zip away from his post, fly all the way to Ayodhya, get his fill of sweets, and then rush back. Of course, the second Hanuman was gone, Varuna would sense his chance, and the sea would surge right back, threatening the city all over again. Lord Jagannath, being all-knowing, figured out pretty quickly why these floods kept happening. He knew his guardian was sneaking off for a snack. So Lord Jagannath confronted Hanuman. But here's the thing. He didn't do it with anger. He approached him with this deep, loving understanding. And this is where the story takes an absolutely incredible turn. He explained it to him so gently. He basically said, Hanuman, your devotion is infinite, but man, so is your appetite. To protect the people of Puri, you have to stay put. And these chains, he said, weren't a punishment, but a tool to help him stay focused on his vital mission. And that is exactly how Hanuman got his unique name at the Puri temple, Bedi Hanuman. Bedi literally means chains. But listen, these were not just some ordinary cold metal chains, not even close. When Hanuman actually looked closer at these chains, he was absolutely stunned because he saw that every single link was lovingly inscribed with the name of his beloved Lord Ram, the very name that was the source of all his power, his entire reason for being. He just fell to his knees, completely overwhelmed with emotion. He realized this wasn't a punishment at all. It was the ultimate blessing. Lord Jagannath had wrapped him in the one thing he treasured most in the universe. It was a divine embrace that would forever anchor him in his Lord's presence. So, with Hanuman's duty now lovingly secured by the name of Ram, Lord Jagannath turned his attention to the root of the problem, his dear devotee's really, really big appetite. And right then and there, Lord Jagannath made a huge declaration. To make sure that Hanuman, and by extension any devotee, would never again feel unfulfilled, the temple would now prepare an incredibly elaborate feast, every single day. And that right there is the origin story of one of India's most celebrated culinary traditions, the Chappan Bhog. Chappan means 56, and Bhog means offering. We're not talking about just a few extra items. This was an extravagant promise of total abundance. And this grand feast, overseen by the goddess Mahalakshmi herself, would have everything, all of Hanuman's favorites like laddoos and malpua, plus dozens of other unique dishes. It was basically a divine guarantee that no one's appetite, whether physical or spiritual, would ever go unsatisfied at Puri again.
And that's what is so amazing. These two famous traditions, the Chained Hanuman and the Feast of 56 Dishes, they aren't separate things at all. They are completely intertwined, born from the very same beautiful story of devotion, a relatable craving and a God's profound love for his follower. You know, the story of the chains that weren't really a punishment, it leaves you with a really powerful thought. Sometimes, maybe the very things that feel like they're restraining us or holding us back are actually what's anchoring us to our true purpose, connecting us to what matters most,